want to get right to our top story, though. For the second time in just 2 months, an assassination attempt on former President Trump. It happened at his golf course in Florida. President Biden said there's no place for political violence. Vice President Harris says she's deeply disturbed and condemned political violence. We have team coverage. Rachel Scott starts us off from West Palm Beach. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. This is the second time this is happening in just 9 weeks, and there is still one big question: how a suspected gunman was able to get this close to the former president of the United States and Republican nominee. Officials say that part of the problem is all of this shrubbery that surrounds Donald Trump's golf course. They say that once you are in it, you are essentially out of sight. That was until a Secret Service agent spotted a barrel of a rifle sticking out of the bushes and out of a fence. He jumped into action, sending the suspect running.
This morning, for the second time in just 2 months, the FBI is investigating an apparent attempted assassination on Donald Trump's life. ABC News learning the former president was on his West Palm Beach golf course with donor Steve Witkoff near the 5th hole when a Secret Service agent suddenly saw a barrel of a rifle sticking out of the fence just 300 to 400 yards away.
What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off.
Sources say Secret Service fired 4 to 6 rounds as Trump was rushed to a safe area. The suspected gunman went running, leaving behind an AK-47 style rifle, 2 backpacks which contain ceramic tile, and a GoPro hanging on the fence. An eyewitness catching the suspect fleeing.
Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great.
With that information, police were able to track down the car. This is the moment authorities surrounded the suspect in the vehicle.
We knew we had the car, everything lined up. We surrounded the car, didn't give him a chance to flee. He had no alternative but to surrender.
Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News the man detained by police is 58-year-old Ryan Wesley Roth. Overnight, law enforcement descending on his home in Greensboro, North Carolina, going through the residence floor by floor, searching by a flashlight. Sources also say he had ties to Hawaii. His neighbor there speaking with ABC News.
I kind of like a shock that all of this is happening.
While authorities are working to determine a motive, sources familiar with the investigation say they are looking into whether Roth had any frustrations with Trump's position on Ukraine. He frequently posted on social media about the war, seen here in a 2022 video in Poland around the time he went to Ukraine.
And that we're going to stay as long as it takes to get every Russian out of Ukraine.
Trump traveled back to his Mar-a-Lago estate and a social media post thanking law enforcement for keeping him safe, saying the job done was absolutely outstanding. His son Eric Trump telling Fox News, "My father is running out of lives." It was just 65 days ago that Trump survived an attempted assassination at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president was grazed by a bullet in the ear, ducking for cover behind the podium. And this morning, there are questions once again about how a gunman could get this close to a former president and Republican nominee.
He's not the sitting president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible.
So there's a heavy police presence here outside of Trump's golf course. You can see that this street is still blocked off, and you can see where officials have set up a command post. The former president did travel back to his Mar-a-Lago estate, where he met with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who called him unstoppable. We are told that Donald Trump is in good spirits, but George, I will tell you, there is a sense of disbelief within his inner circle that we are talking about this once again, George.
Boy, I'm sure there is. Robin?
All right, George and Rachel, let's bring in our Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas with the latest on the investigation and what we're learning about the suspected gunman. Good morning to you, Pierre.
Robin, good morning. Overnight, the FBI continued an intensive investigation into the man detained as a suspect in what is being described as a possible assassination attempt against former President Trump. Sources telling ABC News the FBI is doing a deep dive into Ryan Wesley Roth's background, looking into his social media footprint, recent travels, and whether he has a criminal record. Searches were being conducted, and family, friends, and associates are being sought for interviews. As Rachel reported, a key law enforcement focus is whether the war in Ukraine Ukraine played a role in this incident. Authorities have a number of concerns, among them that the suspect clearly had some sense of Trump's schedule and was able to position himself in a dangerous spot that overlooked where Trump was golfing. There's concern that he had done surveillance of Trump and the golf course and may have visited there before. And while the Secret Service responded quickly and apparently effectively, questions remain about how the man was able to get into such a critical position near the course in the first place. Should there have been more personnel to secure the property? The incident comes less than 2 months after a sniper tried to kill Trump at a Pennsylvania rally, leading to the resignation of the Secret Service director. Congress is investigating the Secret Service, and this morning, key congressional leaders are calling for a thorough FBI and Secret Service investigation and the need for transparency. Roth is being held locally in Florida and could soon face federal charges, Robin.
Once again, so many questions that need to be answered. Pierre, thank you. Law enforcement, as you know, Pierre, is on high alert with heightened security around the White House complex with just 50 days until the election. Our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, is here with more on the threat environment. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, Robin. 2 assassination attempts on a presidential candidate. Nobody's seen anything like that in this country in decades. Threats against politicians, political groups, and election infrastructure are surging. Extremism and hate crimes are rising, and overseas conflicts in Ukraine and Israel are unceasing. It all contributes to a threat environment that has been compared to 9/11 with no equivalent in modern political history. After Butler, the U.S. Secret Service urged Trump to stage no more outdoor rallies, and agents conducted a security assessment of all of Trump's golf courses. With 50 days left until the November election, officials now see no reason to believe political violence is going to lessen. In fact, they're making preparations for how to handle Election Day and the certification of the Electoral College on January 6th. And in this case, George, the question is, was this a success because the security redundancies worked, or a failure because the gunman got so close in the first place, George?
Huge question. Okay, Aaron, thanks very much. Let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. Heightened security now in Washington as well.
There certainly is, George, and I can tell you that almost immediately after the suspect's arrest, the White House said that both President Biden and Vice President Harris had been briefed on the incident, saying they were both relieved to know that Donald Trump is safe. The president in a statement later stressing that there is no place for political violence and saying he's directed his team to make sure the Secret Service has every resource it needs to ensure the former president's safety. The vice president saying she is deeply disturbed by this possible assassination attempt. She, too, condemned political violence, adding, quote, "We all must do our part to ensure that this incident does not lead to more violence." Now, security has been heightened here at the White House and at the vice president's residence, where she was staying over the weekend, with added law enforcement, George.
Okay, Mary, thanks. Let's bring back Rachel Scott. Trump campaign already raising money off this?
Yeah, within minutes of this incident, the former president did send out a fundraising email to his supporters. And for many of them, it was probably the first time they were even hearing about an attempted assassination once again. And he told them that he will not surrender. He told them that he is safe and doing well. George, when we talk to people in Trump's inner circle, yes, they say he's in good spirits. But yes, they're also saying that there is a sort of sense that this is very surreal, that they are dealing with this once again, just 9 weeks after the attempted assassination on Donald Trump's life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, we are told that the former president is planning to keep his current campaign schedule. He has stops both in Michigan and New York this week. But Trump campaign senior advisor sending out a memo to all of their staff, urging them to remain vigilant and on high alert, George.
Rachel Scott, thanks very much.